Hi everyone, hope you are doing good. And today we have an interesting session with one of our student who was there with you studying, and he has now secured a 695 on the GMAT Focus Edition. So this session will understand what were the challenges, right? It's more about the challenges, the story behind that particular score which he has got, right? What was the journey all about? How was the experience all about? What were the tools? What were the resources were used? How are the mocks being analyzed? What are the takeaways? So we'll understand these points from one of our student Hari Om, and then we'll conclude these few pointers. Okay, starting a quick intro from you, Hari Om. What exactly is your background? How much experience? What was when you joined? When you joined, whether it was you had some initial experience of the GMAT or you do not have, a brief introduction before going into the depth of the session.
Sure, sir. Hi, everyone. So I work as a senior software developer in Bajaj Finance. I've done my BTech in IT from MIT Manipal. Now coming on to GMAT, so one of my target business schools was ISB Hyderabad, and I got to know that GMAT is one of the entry points. So yeah, so that is it. Like as soon as I found out
Okay.
about GMAT,
So you had any this thing initial score? What was the GMAT all about, or was it the beginning with before this thing starting? You didn't have that idea, and then you just started the preparation. What was it?
I had heard that in the old format, 700 is the target score, and
Hmm.
if you translate that into the newer one, you need to get 645. But on the same lines, I also knew that I'm low on experience when it comes to scores like ISB, so
Okay.
I targeted on scoring a bit more than 645.
Okay, fair enough. So you targeted a bit enough, right? 700, I believe that's actually a 90th percentile, and right now, which you are 695, that is 98th percentile. So you have exceeded that, which is an equivalent to a 750 on the classic edition. So good improvement, and a good you thought to achieve a 700, which was classic, which is 645 on the Focus Edition, and on the Focus Edition you got a 695, which is a huge improvement from the target score. Okay, fair enough. So why you thought that? What was the reason behind taking a GMAT, or what was the thought process?
So the main thought process was that firstly, it is one of the main entry points towards ISB. Now,
Okay.
GRE was an option, but
Hmm.
I was aware of the fact that if GMAT goes well, I will get an opportunity to apply for foreign business schools as well.
Fair
That
enough.
Yeah, so that was the
Okay,
main
so that
reason why.
means taking the options in, I mean, both the options, be it an Indian B school or an abroad. So you have so you are targeting both should be something other than that. Means if it's not this, then that you have the option to go ahead with. Fair enough. So you joined CL, right? How you came across the understanding that CL has to be joined? What was the thoughts, and what were the research which you had, or what exactly was the point?
Firstly, Career Launcher is one of the most reputed training institutes when it comes to India, be it CAT or any other competitive exams. Now, when I did a Google search for GMAT preparation in India, CL was one of the first few links, and I had the trust behind the name, and
Okay.
also I attended one of the info sessions, so
Okay.
that actually helped. So,
Okay, okay, fair enough. So you attended the open sessions which we conduct, and you Googled, searched, and came across the back data which you had from the previous experiences of CAT or something. So you had that experience, and you had that information which concluded towards your decision to take the coaching. Okay, fair enough. Now let's begin now the main part, right? What is the journey all about? Means what were the diagnostic score, if you can tell? What was the how you started, at what point, how much it took, how many months it took to reach to that target score? Can you brief?
Sure. So I think I started my GMAT preparation in June second week or third week, and as
Okay.
soon as I joined Career Launcher, I was asked to take a diagnostic test. Now there were two sections in it, quant and
Mm.
verbal.
Mm.
So in quant, I think I performed decently well, 75 to 80% out of
Okay.
eight questions there were, and
Okay.
in
Fair enough.
verbal I lagged a bit.
Okay.
I think I scored around 60 to 65%. So that test actually
Okay. Fair.
gave me the insight as to that I really need to work for verbal. Now,
Okay.
starting from June, I devoted around 2.5 hours every day, almost for 2 months. And
Okay.
since the syllabus also got over quite early, that is July last week, so
Okay.
that actually gave me 15 to 20 days to give a lot of mocks to see how my test taking strategies are working or not. And then finally, I took the exam on August 24th. So yeah, that was it.
Okay, fair enough. So diagnostic gave you an understanding that this is the area where you have to put in probably 60% of your efforts and 40% to quant. Why? Because that gave an insight that quant is somewhat on a better side as compared to verbal, and then you can strategize and plan your preparation. And it took, I believe, that it took 2.5 months when you started and the end when you gave the exam, right?
Right.
Okay, fair enough. Now, what exactly were the strategies? Now, going into more depth, what were the strategies which you think were there for the quant, for verbal, for data insight? How you managed that? That what were the things which you thought that it helped you during the preparation for these three sections?
So firstly, I'll just say a point about the exam overall. So the main thing about the exam overall was that you need to really take care of the timings. Now, if a question is taking more than 2 or 2.5 minutes, we need to move on from that question. And now, when I come to the individual sections, so with verbal, the same thing translated. For reading comprehension, so something that really worked for me was that I used to skim through the passage in around 90 seconds and then attempt the questions. This really saved my time a bit, and gradually the accuracy also improves. So this was about verbal. About
Okay, this
quant, I
is
would say.
only but about RC. What about CR? How was your CR? Because many
Now
a
when it
times
comes
the point is that I am stuck with last two. I'm not able to figure out. I've eliminated out of five three options. I'm just stuck with last two, and the choice I select that is in the incorrect one. So how you managed that?
Now, when it comes to CR, something which we were taught in our CL classes was that how to break up an argument into
Hmm.
conclusion and premise.
Hmm.
First thing, when you do that, you actually understand that what the question is actually trying to ask. So even if
Okay.
you don't have the 100% idea about the options, you can still get a rough estimate, and I mean that chances of getting the right answer just increases a lot. And secondly, we were also taught how to stay away from the traps like extreme answers or things which look out of context. So
Okay.
I kept on practicing on those lines when it comes to CRs, and
Mhm.
practice also helped a lot. We got sheets also, which daily practice problem sheets, and they were really close to the level of difficulty which we received in the actual exam. So that helped me with verbal.
Okay, fair enough. Good pointers. Fair enough. What about quant? How you managed side? It also increased, right? You got a very high on the quant 88, right? So what exactly was the quant strategies, or how was your preparation during this tenure of 2.5
Uh,
months?
when it comes to quant, I think the best thing I did was I tried to be the jack of all trades rather than being a
Hmm.
master of one, because GMAT really doesn't get into a lot of depth of concepts. It tests that if you are at least aware about some of the basic properties when it comes to quant concepts. Now, once
Hmm.
you apply that and you start practicing, that helps a lot. So,
Okay.
yeah, something which helped me a lot was that I tried to know a little bit at least about each and every topic in the syllabus.
Okay. And basically, so you are saying that for quant, you understood all the fundamental things which are there, not leaving out any particular topic as such, be it a P and C problems, permutation combination. So you understood all the things, not leaving out. and the GMAT is more about uh, having the understanding of all the fundamental things. Is that the point?
Yes, exactly. In fact, since you mentioned PNC, so it was one of the most hateful topics I had, and
Hmm.
now when it comes to the classes, uh, I think you were our instructor for quant, and you actually taught us that it's nothing to be scared about. It's just that if we keep the basics in mind, GMAT problems are at least something which we can tackle. So if the language seemed complex or anything, I just went back to that theory, and I just tried to apply that whether we have to do selection or arrangement. That helped a lot
Okay,
actually.
fair enough. So that means our foundation should be strong. This is what
Right.
that concludes as a point, that if the foundation is strong, be it any question, then the things becomes slightly approachable. If they are approachable, the chances of getting the correct answer also increases in a sense. Okay,
Exactly.
what about DI? How was that? That's a new section, and actually a lot of things comes around how to prepare. Not getting a DI score. What should be the strategy? What were your these things around the DI?
So when it comes to DI, so initially when I started giving mocks, I was getting low scores in DI, and I realized that initially I used to spend a lot of times on the graphs which were given and two-part analysis questions. Because
Hmm.
when you see the questions on the first glance, it looks like it is something which I should be able to do it, but that rather ends up taking a lot of time. So first thing which helped me a lot was that I started keeping time limits. That okay, if this question is there, I can't spend more than 2 or 2.5 minutes. Firstly,
Hmm.
that, and secondly, as soon as much as I went to the last part of it, like the 17th, 18th, 19th questions in DI,
Hmm.
the rating actually starts to increase because I think they have kept some easier questions on the 17th, 18th questions, and that
Hmm.
actually helps with the rating. And secondly, DI questions, most of the concepts are taken from quant and verbal itself. So
Hmm.
as we work on quant and verbal, gradually DI rating also tends to increase.
Improves. Okay, fair enough. So good pointers again. That means time management is a point, right? Throughout your preparation, if time is managed well, then at the end you do not feel that much stressed out. Why? Because the last question might be, which you are also saying, that last seven, when you are at 17th or 18th question, they were slightly easier as compared to the middle ones or the initial ones. So leaving out those questions or getting them incorrect gives you more penalty as compared to getting a harder question. So that's, I believe, that's the point of not getting those questions incorrect, right?
Right.
Okay, fair enough. Taken the point. So, a good point. I would say that who is reviewing or going through, so take these notes, right? That will actually help you throughout your preparation. Now, coming to the next important part, Hariom, what exactly was the mock scores? How closely, I believe, have you given the CL mocks? How close they were towards the MBA.com mocks? And what was the experience related to the content, related to the scores? What exactly were your takeaways or your pointers?
Firstly, so CL mocks were the closest mocks I came across in my GMAT preparation to the actual exam, as well as the MBA.com mocks over there.
Okay.
The thing with MBA.com mocks is we get a couple of mocks to give for free, but
Hmm.
after that they start
It's
charging,
paid.
and the prices are also a lot. So
Hmm.
having the advantage of CL mocks really helped me a lot. The questions were very much similar to actual exam, and as much as I gave mocks, that practice of solving questions within the time frame really helped me, and the analysis part also. After the mocks, we get the solutions and we get to see different insights. So that
Hmm.
also helped me a lot. I actually got to know that okay, in this particular topic, I end up spending more time than I should. So that was something which I kept in my mind for giving the next mock. So it really helped me a lot.
Perfect. And what about the scores? Were they coming because must have given the CL as well as NBA.com mocks? So were they on that similar range which you are getting, or what exactly was the scoring from the scoring point? Content point we understood.
Sure. Now first mock I gave from MBA.com. I think I
Uh,
scored a bit on the lower side. I think 500 something. But after
okay.
that, when I started, keeping time in mind, so I
Uh,
got a 665. And after that, I took two CL mocks. And
okay.
interestingly enough, in both the CL mocks, I got 665 only. So
Okay.
you can just see that how good the scoring algorithm of CL is, how closely it resembles to MBA.com as such. And
Perfect. Mhm. Okay. Okay, so the scoring also we are quite that means closer. So plus minus 20 might be there, but for your case it was almost the exact same. A good point here to understand. Now, what when you were giving the exam, right? What were the strategies which you thought that whether you'll start with first five questions? How was that impact, or how was that? The thought process that you'll be doing the first five with a nice time management, or the last five, or the middle 10 questions? So what were the uh, first quarter of the exam, second quarter, third quarter? What were your take on that particular strategy point of view?
yes, sir. So something which I came to know in one of my lectures was that GMAT is not something which actually tests the strength of the concepts of a candidate. It tests the test taking ability and how does he perform in certain situations. So for that, it was really important for me. This was important because it made me understand that if I give too much of time in solving one of the concept questions, I will be losing on, and I'll be getting a lot of penalty. So
Hmm.
I focused on that, and I used to keep a time limits that okay, first five questions I need to complete when 35 minutes are left. So that is something which I
Okay.
kept in mind. And
Okay.
when it comes to the first five questions, definitely, sir, those are the most important questions of the section, I would say, because the first question we get is of medium level difficulty. If we start getting that wrong, then the system starts throwing easier questions. The problem with that is the easier sections have less weightage as compared to difficult questions. So if
Hmm.
you get first five question wrongs, that just takes you to more than 85% rating, at least for that
Hmm.
point of time.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
then our probability of ending up on a good percentile or a good rating of the section increases a lot. So what I
Hmm.
used to do that I used to keep timers that okay, when 35 minutes are left, I should be done with five questions. And gradually, obviously, when say 25 minutes are left, I should be on my ninth or 11th question or something like that.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
for first five questions, since I mentioned it's important for me to get them right, I used to take a leeway of 1 or 1.5 minutes. That even if say 34 minutes or 33.5 minutes are left, so that was fine with me. So yes.
Okay, fair enough. So that means first five questions you focused and took 2 to 2.5 minutes to solve those questions, and obviously that algorithm which is there, the adaptive nature which is there, which plays a lot of difference. If the first five or seven questions are incorrect, the difficulty level reduces. Obviously, then the score getting higher score chances reduces a lot with that understanding. So good strategy, I believe, that was in place, wherein you managed your time well and managed the accuracy well within that first 10 to 12 minutes, which made the second half of the paper difficult and your score increased. Okay, fair enough. Now, the next point here, and which is very very important from most. Why? Because either most are working, have on an average of 5 years experience, right? How you managed your work life, right? And work life and studies, basically GMAT preparation. So what were the day to day schedule which you followed, the number of the questions, or the number of the hours which you invested on a daily basis? What were your uh, learnings?
Sure, sir. So, as you mentioned, when we are working and then simultaneously preparing for an exam becomes a bit difficult. I would say that it's not 100% possible to, for 2.5 months, you will take out 2 hours, 2.5 hours every day for preparation, because when you're working, things do come, problems do arise, and you need to pay attention to that as well, because that is important. Now, this is where CL helped me. We had an option of attending live classes, but an option to see the recorded lectures helped me a lot. I personally prefer to watch recorded lectures because that suited me a lot. And I used to study late at night. And the good thing about this is that there was support available, that in case I get any doubts, or if if there is anything I'm struggling with, I had the option to text my teachers, to text my mentors, and ask for any help I need. So that helps a lot. And what I made sure was that whatever task I'm getting post classes, like solving the daily practice problems and everything, so that actually kept me on kept me in tune with the preparation as such. So that
Okay.
is something.
Fair enough. And how many hours on a daily basis do you think that you have studied? Because that comes a lot of time up. That what should be the ideal or approximate number? It should be 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. What exactly was your take on this?
So on an average for me it was 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and on weekends I used to solve extra problems. So that used to increase. So 3.5 hours on weekends, and on weekdays I tried to devote 2.5 hours.
Done. So 2.5 hours, and approximately how many do you decide that number of the questions, or it was that for 1 hour I'll for quant I'll do 25 questions, taking 2 minutes per question, or was that what was the timing strategy which you followed during the preparation on a daily
Uh,
basis?
sure. So when deciding on the timeline, I didn't focus, okay, today I'll study for sure for 2.5 hours. I tried to do what was asked of me by the instructor, that you should watch this lecture and you should be able to do the problems. So I knew my goal and I divided it accordingly, that, okay, by week one, I should be at least doing number systems, or my reading comprehension practice should happen by the end of the first week. So that I divided into goals, and I figured out that 2.5 hours is something which fits rightly in my schedule
Okay.
after work and before school. So that is how I decided.
Perfect. So that means the week-wise structure, you have taken that I'll complete this particular task in this particular week, and that's how you manage the complete 2.5 months, breaking down into weeks, and probably on a day-to-day, but not on day-to-day, but completing that thing in that particular week. This is how you approached. Fair enough. Got that point. What about study material, resources? How you managed that? What were the things which you have done?
So conceptually, I would say that I strictly stuck to the career launcher materials, the problems which were given to us by the instructor in the class, as well as the daily practice problems. So while I was still learning the concepts, that material was enough for me. Um, After the syllabus got completed, I started referring uh, the official source, official guide. So
Okay.
that gave a structure to my preparation, that these are the kinds of problems which do come. And also, when it comes to verbal, I understood that, okay, this is the level of vocabulary I should be having. Though GMAT doesn't test vocabulary, but
Yes.
it might try to test you.
Okay.
So when and after that, I also referred to GMAT club questions. So this was more or
Okay.
less.
Fair enough. So you referred this. Obviously, the official guide has to be the source. Why? Because everything drills down or comes from there only. Means whatever the material,
Right.
authentic material is there, which we have in hand. So that has to be with reference to the official guide. Okay, fair enough. What about? Okay, we understood a broad thing that you prepared this. Now what about the D-Day? Okay, you are there at the test center. How was that experience? What were the documents? What were the uh, timings? What were the timings you up they were there at the center? How was the experience overall? How was the instructor there? How was the post when you got that 695 as a score? How was the experience total?
So about the exam day, I would say GMAT is actually one of the most student-friendly exams I've ever given. Um, Now, when it comes to the documents, we were only required to take our passport, and inside the examination hall, we had a locker where we could keep our belongings, phone, bags, and everything. I was a bit on the nervous side because I ended up breaking the handle of the cupboard, but still the invigilator tried to calm me down, offered me water and all.
Okay.
And inside the examination hall, we took the key to that locker and the passport, and within two sections, in between two sections rather, we get an optional break of 10 minutes. So that is time, and the invigilator made sure that I'm sticking to that 10 minutes break. When the clock struck 8 minutes, I was asked to get back into the examination hall and sit at my desk. And uh, post examination, obviously, when I saw the score, I was really happy.
Okay.
And yeah, this was it.
Okay. So you went earlier on before your time, on time, or there was a gap and you went there, understood the environment of the exam center. What? How was it?
So the start time of my exam was 2:15. I was
Okay.
asked on the mail to come half an hour earlier, but I made sure that I'm there at the examination center by 1:25, 1:30. And
Okay.
therein, we got debriefed about the examination. So even though that we know about GMAT as such, but still it's good to hear from the invigilator himself. He told basic instructions like if there is anything. For example, they give you markers. You don't get sheets as such. There is a pad kind of a thing, and there you need to do your rough calculations. So yeah, told me that in case the sheets get over, you just need to raise your hand or the markers stop working. So in fact, one of the markers stopped working also, but as soon as I raised my hand, the marker was with me within like
Okay.
1 minute or something. So
Okay, fair enough. So you said that the passport is the most important thing, right? That passport has to be
right.
valid passport, and the overall experience, you went 30 minutes, more than 30 minutes before your actual exam, so as to get accustomed. What about break? There was a 10-minute break. When you took after the first section or after the second section? What was
Uh, I took it after my second section. So my
it? Okay,
order was verbal, data insights, and then quant. So
okay.
for me, I am a bit comfortable with quant. So once my verbal and data insights was over, I was like, okay, my examination is now I'm comfortable with my exam.
Almost
So I took
about to. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So I took the break at that time.
Okay. Okay. So you said so because the next question which comes is what was the sectional order? What should I take a section order? Where shall I start with a quant, or shall I start with a verbal, or in extreme case it could be a DI? And there are two thought process, right? Which you must have seen. That one is that I'll start with a quant, which is, let's say my quant is very nice, and I'll start saying that I'll start with a quant. Why? Because to get a confidence for my exam, or I'll start with a verbal. Let's say my verbal is not that much good, so I'll start with a second set of the students, they will say that I'll start with a verbal. Why? Because my verbal requires more concentration or my more efforts, so I'll start with a verbal first, and then probably DI, and then probably. And my answer to this is also the same, that it should be your where you feel that concentration is most required, when you are most energetic during the exam. You should start with that. And then why? Because the energy starts depleting over a time, right? So you can have a quant as a second. I believe that that worked, and that's what your thought was also.
Yes, sir, exactly. So my energy and concentration levels were highest at the beginning of the exam, and verbal is a section which actually requires you to be very attentive when you're going through passages or when you're going through critical reasoning. Because if you don't pay attention, you'll obviously start reading it again, and that results in time loss. So verbal is something which I targeted in the beginning, and post that data insights. And after that, quant is something which I am comfortable with. So I thought that even if I'm low on energy levels, so a quant is something which I will be able to solve more than I'll be able to solve verbal or data insights. That is how I decided. That is how I decided my order.
Perfect. Great. So, what about the how the next point is now? How we understood you CL helped you a lot. So now to conclude, how CL material or classes, or what exactly strategy session, doubt sessions. We have a lot of things. So how that shaped your preparation?
So there are three main pointers with which CL helped me a lot. first is absolutely mocks, because it is the closest that you can get to the actual examination. So it really helped me develop a test taking mindset. Secondly, no, continuing on the mocks itself, before the exam, 1 week before it, we had a mock strategy, or a mock score analysis session. And in there, you actually taught me that how can I improve on ratings in particular sections. So that analysis really helped me a lot, because that was actually very personally catered to my test taking experience. We had seen what how much time I devoted in each question and everything. So that helped me a lot. Secondly, I would say that CL, the faculties gave me a very strong foundation when it comes to the individual concepts. They were so crystal clear with their explanation techniques, and also the questions which were used in the class, that actually helped me go step by step, and step by step will help me build my clarity in the concepts. So
Okay.
that gave me a lot of confidence for solving daily practice problems, which was again one of the main things with which CL helped me. And the third thing I would say is the support. We have, as I mentioned, we have direct access to the teachers. We can text them anytime with questions. Whatever silly doubts we have, we can text them anytime. And also the platform as such. If you're facing any problems, they are just a WhatsApp message or a Telegram message away. And typically, we do receive replies also within 5 minutes. So that overall, the process helped me a lot.
Okay, fair enough. So good. This thing to understand that it was cul- clubbed efforts of all that resulted, and that was a structured preparation which saved a lot of time. I believe that, because if I start preparing and there is not a very clear thoughts behind that preparation, then that preparation might take a lot of time as compared to having a very streamlined. Okay, fair enough, got that point. Now moving to the next part of this, because we have a 30-40 minute session. So what exactly is the next step which you think about, and what with respect to your future goals? So what exactly you are looking forward to it?
Since I started the GMAT preparation for getting a strong position for applying to ISB, the ISB applications is something which I'm working upon. And
Okay.
also, since I got a good score, I think GMAT actually opened a lot of doors in foreign schools as well. I was never really actually considering studying in abroad schools, but I have that option now, and I can actually evaluate my options in a much better way. So this is something which I'm going to work upon, the college applications and figuring out which colleges I should apply to.
Perfect. I believe so. You, which the thought which you started with, that it should be my Indian colleges as well as the foreign. So that is now the reality, I believe, and which you will be taking that decision in the next couple of weeks, probably moving to the next part of your journey in life, right? So a good this thing session, Hariomai. I totally enjoyed your journey, right? And all the best for your future endeavors, right? We are always there and see to the students that they grow, right?
Thank you so much, sir. And once again, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you as well as Mayur, sir, and CL family in particular, because it was only possible through the invaluable guidelines that you gave me, and you guys were with me throughout this journey, and it actually took me a lot of steps forward in my final goal. So, yeah, thank you so much for everything.
Perfect, good to hear, and all the best once again, and see you soon. We'll
Thank you so
stop the
much.
session here. Hariom, bye. All the best.
Bye.